Passions, and I'm working out this morning. You're welcome to join me. I posted a short about a few thoughts and about Liver King and what he's doing as an artist. As somebody who is, he's an artist to a degree. He's all these things. He's a businessman. He's weightlifter, bodybuilder. Again, I'm not really shaming bodybuilders. I mean, I'm a fan of like movies like Rocky and like Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and all that stuff. I mean, who doesn't? It's right. But there's just a line. I mean, I've seen people who are like 36 years old, 30 younger than me, who look older than me, and so I look at that and I go, oh, cool, that looks great. That's what I want to be. No, far from it. Far from it. So, do they inspire people? I don't know. I guess to a certain point they do, and then they die. And it's like, oh, don't do what he did. You know what I mean? Like, nobody's like applauding that they were so bulky and huge and that they died at so young at 36 years old. That's ridiculous. But then again, life happens so quickly in a blink. Some people want to live fast and die young. I saw the other day, I saw a person wearing a shirt that said that. And I was like, you can't honestly believe that. I mean, you not value your life, or maybe, I don't know, maybe you do value your life in a different way. You have to live fast. But it's like, man, life's too beautiful to run past it. You know what I mean? Life's such a gift to run through it and just not appreciate the little things, and not even appreciate, like, he doesn't get to appreciate old age. That's not a good thing. Sure, people say, oh, the body aches and stuff, but no, there's something to being old that you get to experience a whole other perspective as a human being, as a creature on this planet. That a lot, folks, some people don't get the opportunity to do that, And you might say, well, what's so great about that? I'd rather die young. Well, you may say that now, but that's because you don't know what it's like to be older. You don't know the joys. Sure, there's aches and pains, but there's certain joys that come from that, from being. And again, it just depends on the kind of person you are, I guess. For some people, if they're like very family oriented, I'm sure that's a very, probably hard, frustrating, I'm sure, but it's also joyous to see your family, move on and like grow. It's such a blessing. So we're doing these little simple back and forth. Like I'm literally just passing this 25-pounder around like if it was a little ball. I do this enough times to where this 25 doesn't feel like anything, really. I mean, obviously there's some weight to it, but the idea is to work out in a way where, yes, you push yourself, but you don't want to necessarily always want to work on bulking up. You want to work on strengthening your muscles. Some people might say, oh, what a joke, you're just barely doing anything. No, this is working out. You do this for 2 hours, you've worked out. Trust me. You garden for 2 hours, you've worked out. You go walking to a location instead of taking the car. You walk, I don't know, 5 miles. That's exercising. You don't have to go to the. Some people don't have time, so they gotta go bicycle. They gotta go around the treadmill. They gotta do these things. I'm in a position where I'm not really lifting a lot of weights in my daily routine. So this is what I do to maintain, so I don't lose. And in the past, like, there's certain moments where, yeah, I do want to bulk up, but then there's certain moments where I'm like, no, it's not about bulking up. It's about the strength and stamina. It's about maintaining and just growing incrementally. As you grow incrementally, it's not that big of a stress on your body. You're not stressing your body to the point of like, I don't know what to call it. Some people, I guess, just stress their bodies so much that they age faster. They're not taking care of their bodies. And that's, these guys call themselves like health experts and whatnot. And it's like I don't think so, buddy. So let me just get this a little situated better. So maybe you can see me a little bit. You know, can you see me more now a little bit? I don't know. Lighting is a little off, I guess. If I put this here, block some of the lighting. There we go. That kind of helps. And then maybe open this window a little bit more. There we go. Get that away. Actually, let's just lay it down. Let's just lay it down on the counter. And some people like to have an aura of mystery. They keep a lot of secrets. I don't have any secrets. I don't. There's still some things I do that I consider unhealthy, but you know, vapes a new thing I started. Unfortunately, but it's helped me slow down the weed smoking, which is something else I do. Some people consider that unhealthy, but you know, I feel like it helps me out. You know, obviously any kind of smoking is going to affect your aging process. It's going to, you know, I guess it depends how much you do of it. You know, I feel like I don't do a whole lot of it, you know. I do it just enough to just feel good about it. You know what I mean? And then I get back to work, you know. I feel good. Like I feel really good. You know, I don't like, I mean, I could open this window here and that way the smoke clears out. But, you know, each their own, you know, and, you know, me smoking isn't hurting anyone. So, you know, you could say it's hurting me, but, you know, I don't feel like it's damaging me. Maybe my genetics a little bit over time. I have a little bit of gray hairs coming in. It's probably from the smoking is my guess. That's got to be my guess. But see, I do these little simple exercises because, again, it's just about when I don't have time to work out, you know, and, you know, it's all about making time too and scheduling time. And I do that. I go schedule some time to work out, like really work out with some heavy weights, you know. Again, this is just maintenance. You got to do it. You got to do it, or else you're going to let yourself go. You know, and once you let yourself go, it's really hard to get back. So I'd rather spend the time doing, you know, these little simple exercises that like literally just doesn't take that much time, you know, it doesn't take that much energy. It's not energy all at once, it's energy for the long run, right? So that's why your stamina builds up. You know, that's the focus. So, you know, that's what it's about for me anyways. So this is what I just call around the world. I don't know if there's an actual name for this, but I just do this for, I mean, my arms hurt. They're burning. Believe it or not, they're burning. That's what you want. That's the pain. Once you feel that pain, you know you're doing it right. No pain, no gain, right? Some people like to push and they're like, oh, it's so painful. No, like you're doing it wrong, dude. Like it's a slow introduction to the pain, to the burn, and then you continue pushing through the burn. And it's a process that I found that if you do it this way, you can go burning. You could be burning much more harder, much more painful than if you were trying to push heavy weights over and over and over. Yes, you get there faster, but this, you introduce the pain slower, and it's like you get accustomed to it. You know, it's like those people who dive in cold water, you know, like when they jump in ice cold water, or they go into it and they stay in there. It takes a while for their body to adjust. And that's what I'm allowing my arms to do. You know, they're getting tired, exhausted, they're burning, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I like these exercises because I'm working my shoulders. You know, I feel the pain all up and down my arm. It's not a pain like, oh, it hurts my bones. No, it's the muscle, right? Really working those arms. It's such an easy thing to do. It's such a stupid thing to do.
And what I like about it is that there's motion and there's flow. You know, it's not a up and down, up and, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, a lot of resistance going up and down. You can feel the burn, especially now after doing that. But this is the, you know, I'm allowing gravity to kind of work with me here. I'm not fighting against it. But, you know, it is weighing down. You know, there's that resistance of me having to hold the weight up and toss it. You know, there's that. But other than that, I mean, sure, it is kind of dangerous. You know, if you do this, you got to be careful. You got to be like, when I started doing these exercises, and I do these, I've done this same exercise with a 50 pounder, with a 50 pounder, folks. And that takes, to me, to get to that point, it takes a minute. It takes a minute of me doing this. Because there's days that I don't do enough of these, you know. I'll do like, I don't know, I'll do like 50 and call it a day, you know. But now I'm really pushing it because, like I said, I think I'm a little, I allowed myself to go a little bit, you know, and I've kind of lost. So, and you can feel it. You can feel it when you lost stamina, you lost strength. You can feel it. So, see, I'm exhausted, but my arms are burning like crazy. My wrists, my fingers, they're all burning. The whole arm is burning. It's insane. This thing is, it feels like it weighs another extra 10 pounds, you know? Oh my goodness. I guess you gotta be careful. You know, something to get snagged. My glove just got snagged, you know, I could have dropped the weight. It's dangerous. It's kind of dangerous. I'm not gonna lie. This is dangerous, especially if you don't. I've never dropped a weight doing this because I'm very careful. I've almost dropped it once, especially like a 50 pounder. I almost dropped that sucker. You know, and this is the kind of thing that, you know, if you're worried about dropping it, do it outside in the grass. You can go outside, get some fresh air while you're doing this. It's always better to be outside anyways while you're working out. You're getting deeper, fresher breaths of air while you're working out. You know, it's way better to work outside than indoors. Indoors, especially if you go to a gym, you're surrounded by other people's sweat and nasty smells, and it's just like there's this thick sweat atmosphere. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I could always tell. There's just like a, I don't know, it just feels sticky. So, you know, I like to go, and plus I like my privacy when I work out. I don't need people talking to me. Like I'm doing my thing, you know. Like, yeah, I can wear music, whatever. You know, I don't need to showboat. I don't need to go and make my presence known somewhere. I mean, I'm obviously doing it on YouTube. That's different though. That's different. This is, I'm actually building an audience, and I'm experimenting with YouTube, and I'm, in a lot of ways, because I started using YouTube as a daily journal, a vlog, if you will. It's done a lot of wonders for me. At first, I was so depressed and heartbroken and just pretty messed up. You know, career was tanking. You know, I wasn't in a good place mentally. It was just bad, and it took a lot of just vlogging, working through my issues, reading books. You know, I'm reading my 20th book this year. You know, and I tend to read, you know, some books every year. There was one year in specific, I actually read 200 books. I made it my goal to read 200 books, and I did it. That was when I was in school and college. But and it wasn't like I skipped or anything. I read every word. I made sure I understood it. It wasn't like racing to get through and skipping parts. No, I read every single word, every page, and I made sure I understood everything. You know, and these were all. There was like, I think out of the 200 books, there was like probably 10 that were fiction. The rest were nonfiction. They were all like educational. They're all about film or screenwriting or like anything that I had my interest in: theater, business, marketing, branding, like anything. People that inspire me, you know. I've gotten books on Charlie Chaplin, Spielberg, some other people I can't really think of right now. You know, so directors, a lot of directors. I've read all of their biographies and stuff, and you know, always inspiring, always inspiring. Right now, I'm just doing these twists like this. I go back and forth, and that also, it gives me a rest from going back and forth with the weight, but it's also, oh my God, it burns when you do these little simple twists. I cannot tell you how much it burns. Oh my God. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I call it a lazy workout, to be honest. Like, it's a pretty lazy, chill workout. It's like you're playful. You're having fun with the weight. You're being playful. You're being safe. You're not gonna like pull a muscle or injure yourself. It's about getting a feel for your body and your body movement. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a whole movement here to your whole body. Your whole body is feeling tension. You're like a pole, right? And when you have something swinging around, you got that tension that's like pulling you. And so there's a bit of a core resistance going on. Like, I could feel my back muscles working. I could feel my legs a little bit, like tiny, like minuscule. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's mostly in the shoulders, and then like right here, and my hands too. I can feel my wrists working out, my hands. That's something extra that, when you do simple workouts, I don't feel like you're really working out your hands or anything. So my hands are tired, like my fingers, because I've been handling. I'm out of breath. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. And like, already I can tell like my definition's already coming back. My muscles are like getting strained, and they're, I could always up the weight too. I have a 35, I have a 45 and a 50. And sometimes I, like, throughout the year, I don't repeat myself like monthly. I don't keep using the same weight monthly. What I do is I maintain. If I lose some because I'm busy, I go back to maintenance. And then if I have time, I push myself. And then if I really, really put, like, I find myself with a lot of time, because sometimes it happens, then that's when I bust out the 35. I do these simple exercises. I get like used to and accustomed to the weight. It takes a minute, but then like you suddenly, you just suddenly have the strength to do it, right? It's like boom, 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 you're doing it. And then that's how I did it. That's how I got up to 50. If you go back to like early on my YouTube posting days, when I was a newbie, I was doing the 50. I was doing the 50, and it's a lot more challenging. I definitely had more strength back then. I wasn't that much bulkier than this, but I was doing 50 because I wasn't bulky, but I had the strength, and that's where I want to be back. I want to be back at doing 50, having the strength to do 50 and doing these and doing these. Like, I do everything with the 50 pounder. It takes increments of putting in the time, weekly, monthly. Monthly I do maintenance, always maintenance work. That's why I don't really have a before and after. I had somebody ask for a before and after. It's like, I don't have one because I've always been fit. I've never let myself go. I mean, I've gotten, the fattest I've ever gotten was probably about there. That's the fattest. No, right about there. That's about the fattest I've ever been in my life. And even so, when I was this fat, I didn't really gain a lot of fat. There's a little bit in my face, but there wasn't a lot of fat, So now it's like I'm back to me. This is my normal. I've always been this. I've never been anything else than this, right? This is normal to me. I've never been more defined, I've never really pushed myself to define it. So it's just maintenance, right? But now it's a little different. Now that I'm acting more and I'm on stage, and last year I spent a whole year putting on events for screening local short films, and it was like, that in itself was a workout. It was kind of maintenance work because I had to like mentally schedule, organize, but then I had to physically set up everything because I don't have people working for me or volunteer. A couple of times people have volunteered, but they just seem to get more in the way of anything. And time for me is so important when like the event is happening. Like, I don't have time to waste. Right? I have everything perfectly timed the way I want it. And eventually I'll have more meetings about, including more people into what I do. But the thing is, I've had meetings and people don't show up, and then they're not consistent. They don't keep showing up. So it's tough to find good volunteers who are really dedicated to the plan and all that. And a lot of it's, a good leader will inspire people to surround them and help them. And so I just blame myself for not being a good leader. I'm just not a good enough leader to lead people. So I've been diving back into books. I'm going back and something that as soon as I finish this book that I'm reading, and I'm letting my arms kind of chill, and I'm gonna go back to doing it. But I'm gonna let my arms chill for a sec, and I'm going to get back to it. I was gonna say something. I had a point to make, but I got totally distracted. But I don't have a before and after because I've always maintained. Um, I can show you a picture of when I was a kid. And that's the only time when I was really scrawny and little. But it was never to the point of like, oh, I've been bullied too as a kid and all that. Like when I was little, I'd be like, who wasn't, right? But it didn't affect me to the point where I was like, I gotta bulk up and be the strongest person in the room, and I need to have. I like the, they like the attention. Let's face the facts. They do it because they love the attention. It's their way of getting attention. It's their way of succeeding in life. It's that's how they went about it. That's how they went about it. So each their own. If you want to do that, God bless you. If you want to risk you dying, like that's your call, bud. I've warned you. I've warned you about steroid use and bulking up. I warned you. Now you're in the game. You got to maintain a certain amount of calories. Now you're thinking about like I don't have worries. I don't worry about that. I just like whatever I feel hungry, I eat. And I try to be conscious about it. But let's just be honest here. Whenever I'm working hard, I'm doing the YouTube, the art, and the theater, and all this other stuff. Like it can be stressful, and I'm a habitual stressful like junk food eater. So it's one of my bad habits, and that's another reason why I work so hard to maintain is because I eat so unhealthy. It's like you gotta stop doing that. But it's not like I completely uneat. Like the other day, I had salmon, salad, fruits. I still eat, but I just don't. I guess, and I don't like it when I eat junk food, cookies, sugar cookies, lemon cookies, you know, uh, like waffle type cookie, cracker cookies. Like I just stuff my face. I can't help it, and I know it's bad for me, but it's like, man. And I tell myself, just this one time, just that's what I tell myself. Like this will be the one time, I promise. And then I go and grab another cookie. It's so bad. It's the worst habit that I have that I need to work on for sure. Um, so I'm not a perfect human being, but I guess the whole point of hitting YouTube hard and just showing people that my journey has been tough, but really you can see yourself. I'm not faking it. I'm in a really good place mentally, and I have to thank YouTube for that. It was, I mean, it could have been something else. It could have been journaling or whatever, but I, just like the bodybuilders, I also like to get, compliments and this and that. It's nice. It's nice. You can't, it's just so human of us to be like, it just feels so nice when you get those things. You know what I mean? So I'm not judging them, but I'm just saying, hey, look, you go down that road, the road you're on. You're risking your life. You're risking your life. So, you think it's healthy to be huge and muscular? I'm starting to think that it's not, you know, so obviously it may be a little more healthier than just being completely overweight and whatnot. But, I guess there's a fine line to everything, right? There's a fine line. Everything is a double-edged sword. Probably a lot of these dudes that are passing out and dying, it's probably because their heart gives out. It's because I think they're just abusing it too much. They get a sense of how much power they feel, and they lose control. They're not centered. They're just not centered. So that's really important. Find centeredness. I'm going to switch it up a little bit and do some of these. I was outside. That's why I got the hat. It's like a straw hat. It looks fancy, but it's really not. It's cheap. I lost count, but yeah. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, this is the maintenance. This is part of the maintenance job right here, maintaining those muscles. And one thing I know I need to get is a microphone. I know, I know. But one thing about going to YouTube and doing that live, and it's like it's another extra layer of accountability, because there's everything you do on YouTube and do live, it's proof. It's real. It's like anything you say, any statements, anything you say, like it's there. It's solid. You know what I'm saying? So like where I'm at is just you can't fake it, man. You gotta put in the time. You gotta put in the time. And you know, some people might say, look at me, so he's not that successful. But in my own mind, I'm already successful. You know, I'm just waiting for the world to shift around me. That's pretty much it. I'm not going to force my hand. I'm not going to do Liver King style craziness to get attention. Like I just I realized that me standing up for myself was causing a lot of controversy with the community here, but my intention is not to push the community away or to hurt them in any way or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's not my intention. So like now that my head is screwed on straight and it's just in a better place, it's like I can make decisions clear. I can make decisions based on clear judgment. And in my opinion, my little humble opinion on this channel, uh, I either the Liver King knows exactly what he's doing and he's heading towards that direction, or he's just completely lost. He's just lost it. He's just completely lost himself in this whole I want to beat up Joe Rogan. It's just crazy, dude. It's just craziness. Like, yeah, he got us talking, but we fucking hit your guts, dude. We hit your guts. You're an asshole. You put yourself in the asshole corner. Now, here's the thing about life. Here's Liver King could always come back. He could. He could. It's not like the end. It's only the end when the fat lady sings. You know what I'm saying? So mentally, he's staying strong out of stubbornness. I feel like it seems like the best thing he can do is to really turn things around for himself, is to be like, I realize my error, my ways, and to show people that he's actually through his actions that he's actually changing and doing things. He needs to apologize to Joe Rogan. He needs to do all these things to like get some kind. He's going to lose a controversy, but he'll gain a little bit for apologizing. But that's the only way. That's his only way back to good graces with people, and to like stop scamming people, man. Like just stop, dude. Just stop scamming people. If anything, you can try to be an actor. You can probably start your own reality show. Like you can do so many things. He's got the money, and this is what he decides to do. He's a joke, man. He's what they call in entertainment a jackass. Everybody is laughing at him. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's laughing at him. He's entertaining everybody. He has become the world's jackass. And he has got no problem with it. He's like, whatever, I can take it. He's like, it's me versus the world. Which you gotta commend a little bit. It's kind of crazy, but you gotta commend. It's like him against the world. But he's just the way he's doing it is so bad. It's just so bad, but it's so good the way he's getting controversy. If you look at it from a marketing standpoint of view, if his people are cold-hearted business people, they're like, oh yeah, you're getting a lot of views, you're getting a lot of notice. Oh, Joe Rogan didn't put you on the podcast, but he's talking about you nonstop. You know what I mean? He got what he wanted. He's an ass. He got what he wanted. Not exactly, but he still got it. He forced his way to getting what he wanted. But the result was disastrous. He was willing to destroy his own reputation, which you got to think about this. In his own mind, his reputation is already ruined. So he's probably like, why not just buckle down and just become this character? If he's getting more views than ever before, guess what? He's going to continue to play the bad guy. He is. Bad guys, some people root for the bad guys. Some people want a bad guy to boo and hiss. That's just the reality, They do that on the stage, they do that on film, and they do that on the world stage, talk to Shakespeare. spend some time with Shakespeare. He'll teach you all about the world stage. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna keep doing this little light, I call it a light lazy workout. Light lazy workout. So this weight is starting to feel like a paperweight. Like it doesn't feel like it's starting to feel less and less like a weight. And that's another thing. When I stop for a second doing these things and I pick up the weight again, after a few minutes or whatever, 10 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes, it's like a paperweight. It doesn't feel like anything. Now, it's starting to, the more I do it now, it's like it's starting to catch up. It's like, oh, shoot. There it is. There it is again. There's the pain. There's Mr. Pain. How are you? Spending some time with you, Mr. Pain. Decided that it'd be a good idea to just hurt myself. Ow. Ow, it burns. It burns. Mr. Burns, it burns. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh my God. I don't know. I lost count. I'm probably like at 500 or something. Oh, yeah. Oh, all right, we're going to switch it up because I can't take it anymore. Okay. Okay, switch it up. Yeah, this is starting to feel like a paperweight again. Like nothing. I'm going to have to up the weight. I'm going to get I might have to bust up to 35 here in a couple of days. Because this 25 is feeling like nothing. Like a paperweight. Like nothing. I could just toss this around like if it was a pencil. You know? So we switch it up. Switch it up. I'm trying to control my breathing. In, out, in, out. Yeah, look at my hairy armpits. Simple workout. You know, I can feel pressure, my lower back a little bit, so I'm trying not to put pressure on my spine. I'm contracting my back muscles. So in my this right here is I can feel it working a little bit too. The back muscles in here, the arms obviously, and the shoulders, but okay. Loosey goosey, loosey goosey, loosey goosey, loosey goosey. Okay. Switch it up. If you're like me, you want to pinch some money and save, you can easily work out at home. I mean, I bought that weight for, I don't know how much it was. It was at Walmart, $15 probably, $20, you know. There's my one-time fee. Right now I have a weight for the rest of my life. You know, I don't have to go to the gym. I need to catch my breath. I'll wear gloves. I could only find these winter gloves. I couldn't find my workout gloves. But it's, you know, you want to protect your hands. You know, it's important. These are actually, wearing winter gloves is interesting because it's got more cushion. So it's actually nicer. It feels like when you have that heavy weight in your hand, it kind of cushions it a little bit. It's kind of nicer. I almost prefer to use these. It's kind of weird. I'm still out of breath, man. It's crazy. Again, this is a simple, lazy, it's getting a little bit more intense, but like the beginning when you saw it, when I was just doing around the worlds, it's such an easy thing to do. You can start out with a 5-pounder, move your way up to 10-pounder, and then move your way up to 15, you know. I'm at 25. 25 is my regular go-to when I'm starting to work out again and just doing maintenance. So pretty easy, pretty easy. And any you could be a beginner, and this is like the easiest thing you can do to get a flow going. You got to have a flow where every so often you work out. And in my opinion, the easier you make the workout on yourself when you're first starting out, the funner it is. Like, yeah, I worked out, I can feel it. I'm out of breath, like my muscles are burning, but it wasn't an extreme workout. I think a lot of times we go to the gym, we see the machines and everything, and we feel like we need to get an extreme solid workout. It's not the case. All you need to do is think about maintenance, think about stamina. That's really, I mean, if a lot of people just go straight to bulking, save that for later. Like, really focus on stamina, because when you increase your stamina, you'll spend more time working out. The more time you work out, like exercising, you'll build more stamina. More stamina you have, it gets adding to getting up to where, like, to the point where now you have some muscle, right? And then you maintain it, right? You're eating the right foods. Look into that. Research what foods are good to eat before and after. Think about that. That's also key. That's key. So, people take steroids, but think of food as your steroids. Think of the fruits you eat. Think of the shakes you can eat, you can make on your own that are like, you can add peaches, bananas, strawberries, and then add a little bit of protein powder if you want, or not, add a little bit of ice cream, whatever. Just like, you're getting so much out of that, and then you go straight to working out. You're kind of in a good position. Now you might crash, with all those high fructose sugar and whatnot, but then you go back and you eat a healthy thing. You have a salad, you have a steak, you have salmon, you have chicken, whatever, and it's all good. So, and now some people want to be really picky and be like, well, no, don't eat the steak, eat the chicken, or don't eat chicken, just eat the salmon. But listen to your body. What is your body telling you? It's like, what is it craving? And then ask yourself, is that craving like good or bad? And so sometimes we're craving because we're stressing. Like, ask yourself, are you craving it because your body really needs it? Does your body really need that large soda? Like, does your body really need it? Or are you just being lazy with your choices? Are you being unconscious about your choices? Are you just flowing through life without a care in the world? Like, that's dangerous. That's a kind of happiness. It's a kind of bliss, but it's also dangerous, because it's part of life to be responsible for things. You're responsible for your health. You're responsible for your finances. You're responsible about your direction in life. You're responsible about your mental state, your physical state. You know what I'm saying? You're responsible about what people think about you, although you can't control that all the time, but you can control your actions, and people see what you do, and then, you can change opinions. So it's just, people are so though, they're so human that they'll take a lot of the news at face value. People are so busy living their lives. Everybody wants to live their lives, live to the fullest, or just live through the depression they're living in, or live through the anger they're living in. Like the Liver King, he's living through this anger, and he can't let it go. The fact that he can't let it go, it's just gonna eat him up inside, and he doesn't see it. He doesn't have anyone around him to be like, listen, dude, like, or dad, hey dad, could you just not do that? You're embarrassing me. You're embarrassing the family. Like, he's got a wife who just straight up backs him up, probably because she's afraid of him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's challenging him. Rogan is challenging him without even trying. He's just doing his thing, and he's like, he keeps getting attacked and threatened by this guy. He's not even doing anything to him. He just doesn't want him on the podcast. So what? Too bad, man. You're not invited. Like, stop. You're not invited. The more you try, the more you're going to get, like, banned. Like, stop. You're doing it in such a negative way. We don't want it. We don't want the negative energy. Joe Rogan has every right to do that. It's just silly for this guy to go on and on and on and on, because in his mind, let's be real though, Joe Rogan outed the Liver King. I think he was the guy who helped spread the truth about Liver King and how he was scamming people. And so, yeah, of course he's a target. Of course, anytime you expose an evildoer, they're gonna act just like that. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna act like that. They're gonna threaten you. They're gonna want to beat you up and this and that. But you gotta understand, in a lot of ways, even though his Liver King's empire was built on a lie, which, let's face it, a lot of empires are built on lies. For some people to throw rocks at Viking King just to get views, because people know, yeah, he created controversy, he got views, but people who are talking about, the Liver King are also getting views, and I'm not except me, because I'm a small channel. I just bring it up because he's just fucking everywhere. You can't help it. Everyone's talking about it, And current news. People want to know what's going on in the world, so it's always a hot topic. But let's just be honest. We're already tired of Viking King, right? We're tired of him. We're tired of discussing it. We all know he did it for controversy, and he's probably going to keep digging himself in a deeper burial as stubbornly as he is to continue on that path he's on of self-destruction. He's got time to turn around. It's not too late. Like I said, it's only too late when you die, So it's not too late for him to redeem himself to some community and maybe, whatever. But who knows? Maybe it's too late. But I'm the kind of person who truly believes that it's never too late until the fat lady sings. It's never too late for you to do the right thing. Remember that. It's never too late to do the right thing. Even if you feel immense guilt, shame, don't let that eat yourself up, because God will present you a new day. When you wake up with a fresh attitude, with the notion, the idea that today is a gift, and it's ultimately your choice how you're going to spend that day. Sorry, that's my whole gospel for today. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? It's ultimately attitude. It's what you think. It's what you think. It's what you think. It's what you think about yourself. It's what you think about other people. A lot of people have opinions about the Liver King right now. But and those opinions are almost like prayers. In a lot of ways. There's a lot of people thinking about Viking King negative, and that's like negative energy building up against him. That's not good. You don't want that kind of juju around you. No. And I always go back to Michael Jordan. Look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan. Today, the only controversy surrounding him was he gambled. He went out gambling with his dad once, and they thought he had a gambling issue, which he put to rest like that. He was like, yeah, I gamble, but I don't, it's not a problem. I'm not suffering from it. I'm not living homeless, it's just something I do for fun. I gamble when I golf, I rarely go to casinos, and there's just, and there's a dark side of Michael. There's a dark side of everyone, but Michael Jordan does such a good job of never demanding the spotlight. He's just so graceful. And if you look out through his career, he had his spotlight. His spotlight was on him early on in his life, and he's probably going to be universally world known forever as the champion of champions, right? Michael Jordan represents champion, and to a lot of people, a godlike state. You know what I'm saying? Which is a little excessive, but it's true. His aura and his brand is so pristine, so classic, and so nice. It's one of those things that came out from the 90s that was so Renaissance, you know what I mean? Like never in our time have you ever seen something like this, And so, I mean, it was building up with other players coming into it, but Michael Jordan was the peak of the athlete, the epitome of the athlete representing a sport and what it means to be the best at that, and being a brand name, being a voice for people, being an image, being a center of attention, and then his shoe line and his brand name line and his clothing line. He's classic grace, classic champion attitude throughout the whole thing. But that's just who Michael Jordan is. Something about his mental state, and he talks about this. His one primary thing in life is to take a negative and turn it to a positive, which is what he said his parents taught him. And sadly, somebody murdered his father, which is crazy. Michael Jordan is like, you can tell it just kills him. It kills him inside to live with that. It's such a sad thing to happen. Like, and his dad, if you look into the Netflix thing, his dad was like everything to him, everything. He was always there next to him. He won his first championship trophies with his dad there, you know what I'm saying? And then he left for baseball. And a lot of people give him a lot of crap for that. But the reason why he left baseball is because he couldn't bear winning a championship basketball trophy without his dad. And a lot of people don't understand that, how the emotional toll of his dad being murdered in cold blood in a highway pullover robbery type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just disgusting behavior. Wrong place. At the They call it the wrong time, but it's the right time to be at the wrong place. It's sad. So sad. And he never, did he lash out? Did he say, oh, where's my justice? No, he was graceful. He took it. He barely spoke about it. He spoke about it really for the first time in the Netflix thing called The Last Dance. I highly recommend it. If you want to feel like a champion, if you want to feel motivated to be a champion and be a stay gold champion, do what he does. Do what Michael does. Don't do what Viking King does. Don't do what these other assholes do. Like, these guys are losers. Okay, they're straight up losers. Okay, their attitude is a losing attitude. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about that. It's just a loser attitude. Somebody who can't bear to let go of the spotlight, can't bear to share the spotlight, can't bear to be anything less than alpha. Like, you know what I'm saying? Those are bad qualities. Those are not good qualities. And you can tell the difference between these two. Viking King's not really an athlete, which is disgraceful. He's not an athlete yet. He's like supposed to be a health nut. No. He's not even a champion of anything. You know what I'm saying? He's a champion of scammers. But like, a guy like Michael who dedicated his whole life to the game, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And he will always be remembered as that. And Michael Jordan, he's so chill. All he has to do is live the rest of his life, die, and his legendary status of being like a godlike athlete will ring forever. I mean, Michael Jordan did an impeccable job of making sure that his legacy isn't destroyed. You know what I'm saying? What a clear day and night difference between Michael Jordan and the Liver King. Michael Jordan doesn't call himself a god. He doesn't call himself a king. He doesn't go around saying, I am the king of basketball. I am king. King basketball. That's just a shitty fucking attitude. You know what I mean? That causes problems. And, I see that here with a lot of people in the community who have the same fucking attitude. And I have no problem calling it out. And these people will ban me. They'll push me out, whatever. I don't give a shit. Just like Shia LaBeouf said, I don't give a shit what people think about me. I have my own opinions about me. I know where I'm at in life. I know who I am as a person. You could say I'm a bad person. You could say this all about me. No, ain't true. I know who I am. I have all the videos to prove it. You can just, it's just hot air. So who gives a shit what people think about you? You know what I'm saying? Now, don't take it too far to the extreme where you don't care to the point where you're not being a good neighbor, right? Don't lose that. Don't give a shit to the point where you stop being a good neighbor. That's not good. The Viking King lost that. He lost. He does not really give a shit about anybody. I mean, he tries to be nice, but him being nice is him being rude to you, him criticizing you, him belittling you and trying to teach you something because he just thinks you're a moron. You know what I mean? His whole attitude is shit. His whole attitude. And first of all, if I ever came across Viking King and he started that bullshit on me, if you know me, I don't take shit from nobody. And he's trying to belittle me, I'd be like, who? First of all, Mr. Brian, whatever his real name is, I'm not going to call you king because you're not a fucking king. Second of all, you just disrespected me. You're just assuming I'm an idiot. You know, first of all, fix your fucking attitude. You think I'm talking to you and you think you're special? No, we're all special because we're all human beings. We're all human beings, and you're being judged for all the stupid shit you're doing. There's a lot to be learned from the Viking King. I say Viking, the Liver King. It's such a stupid name too. There is lessons to be learned. You know, he is one of those stories where he ended up bad, and he's a lesson for everybody else. Don't end up like him. Don't end up like the guy where you end up being a lesson for everyone else. You don't want to be in that position. Trust me. You don't want to be, you know. And it's all about thinking about the actions you're taking. Really thinking about where you want to be, who you want to be, how you want people to view you. These are all things you really got to take into consideration. And, you know, and if you have that I don't give a shit attitude, yes, there's opinions that don't matter because they're not true and you don't give a shit, you know, but when it's on point, in this case with the Viking King, you're screwed, you know, like there's he's just being stubborn, you know, he's not seeing what he is for what he is. He doesn't want to see, or maybe he does, and he's accepted he's just a pure animal and he's just being himself. So, you know, you got to give him credit. He turned himself to a monster and he's just being himself. He's just being, and that's the beauty about YouTube. When you're on here live, you're just being you and you're caught up in the moment, like everyone sees who you are. Everyone can truly see who you are as a person. You know, you can't hide that. And even if you try to hide something for a long periods of time, I've seen it on YouTube. So many people get exposed. You know why? Because exposing people gets views, but not just that. It's I mean, it's a shitty thing to do to somebody, to throw somebody under the bus, but you know, I don't plan to do that necessarily. I just want to correct, you know, if somebody did me wrong, I just want them to apologize. I want them to stop doing their shit that they do towards me, you know, the community. That's all I want. I'm not trying to get even. I'm not trying to do anything, you know. Seinfeld said it on the show. The best way to get even is to focus. He didn't say it like this, but is to win in life, you know, to do your thing and just to succeed. That is the definition of winning and success, and being successful. Not revenge. Not revenge. You know, and how many people do I see acting so revengeful towards me because of me being critical of how they behave towards me? You know, you can't be a bully to me and expect me to be like, no, sorry. No, I'm going to say this guy was a bully to me. I don't care if you're famous. Like, you straight up bullied me. You treated me horribly, and people are going to find out about it. And those same people will attack you. They will attack you because they know they're in a corner, and all they can do is attack you to defend their name. So if you try to expose someone, do it carefully, because you're going to end up with a fight. And like this, the Viking King wants a fight because he's cornered like a beast. And what happens when you corner a beast? They act out like this. They exactly act out like this. He's cornered, man. He's totally fucking cornered. You know, he's got nowhere to go. So, anyways, let's get back to it. I say we do another round of workouts and just call it a day of workouts. I mean, I'll probably do the regular push-ups and jump ropes and high jacks and pull-ups. You know, I do that. I won't I may do that. I might move the phone and so you can see that I'm doing it. I'm just saying it out of my ass. Like, these are things that I'm really doing, you know. All right, let's do the bicep workout. So because my attitude is about maintenance and not bulking up, I'm not going to be one of those people that you see like 10 years later and I'm like, I'm a YouTube bulker up guy. I'm dead. You know? Dead, or have a shitty ass body that's fucking destroyed from the inside. You know, that's people are so concerned about the outside that they don't never think about the inside. And the inside is probably more important than what's going on the outside. Believe me. Believe me, believe me. It changes your whole direction of life. It changes your personality. I mean, it just, your whole attitude is everything. Everything. Okay, come on. A little bit more. Let's go the extra mile today. Yeah, arms are. I've been working out for a minute, so my arms are. They're dead. They are dead. Oh my gosh, that burns. 25-pounder feels like 50 pounds right now. From doing all those spinners and around the world and just working on my arms. Yeah, see, it's starting to feel. It's starting to feel like a 35. It's starting to feel like a 45. And it's starting to feel like a 50. Oh, God. All right. Loosey goosey. Loosey goosey. Loosey goosey. I wonder if I'd be good at MMA fighting. I wonder. Because I'm quick. I don't condone fighting. I've never been in a fight, and I've actually had the opportunity to be in fights, and I've de-escalated the situations. But I don't. If I had to, I will. But I don't. I'm very conscious about going the other direction. You know, that probably comes from my mother, my dad. You know, having good parents, having a good upbringing about how to never cross that line. You know, it's okay to get angry. It's okay to have emotions. It's not okay when you're taking those things and creating negativity out in the world. You know, that's not okay. You may think it is, it's really not, you know. So best thing to do is let go, move on, work on yourself, you know, and just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Okay, let's do some of these birdies. These are gonna burn. These are gonna burn. See, I don't have my arm straight because it burns so much that I just can't do it. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. Yeah. I mean, it's good to have some strength. You don't have to be a monster. You know, you don't have to be a fucking primitive caveman, you know. It's okay. You don't have to. You know? It's good to be strong and have some strength and be athletic, but you know, you don't have to weigh like 300 pounds, you know, you don't have to be 200 pounds of muscle. You know. But you know, if that's your thing, I mean, go for it. If that's what brings you confidence, go for it. If that's where you find your confidence, you know, go for it. All right, let's do some push-ups. Let's do some push-ups. Let's do them so you know that I'm actually doing them. I'm not just saying I'm doing them. You know what I mean? A lot of people on YouTube say they do stuff and they don't do it. But space. I don't have space. So bad. I used to be able to do 100 push-ups. This is pathetic. 10. Well, in all honesty, though, I've been working out my arms, so if I start out push-ups, I could probably do 20, but I just haven't been doing it, man. I haven't been doing my maintenance, so I feel like I'm getting out of shape. So diving back in, as they say. Ah. Oh, God, it burns. Oh, it burns. Ooh, that really burns. I hate those sudden bursts of just pain, you know? That's why I like doing those slow burns, because it's just a lot more comfortable. You know, you don't want to get used to that, because then you just hate doing heavier weights and stuff. That's not good. It's good every now. You got to push yourself every now and then. Every now and then, not every time. But like I said, I don't want to lose. I mean, I've already lost some of what I've gained, but you know, just like an athlete, they have to go back to training, because if they don't go back to running, and as a basketball player, you know, running back and forth and this and that, you know, you lose it. Michael Jordan was always training. He was every day on the court, you know, taking his shots every day. And you watch him, and he makes it look so easy. You know, you got people practicing doing like 3-pointer shots, and they're missing. You know, they look like regular people, like missing. Here comes Michael Jordan. He's in the middle of the conversation. Yeah. Ooh, swish. He goes back to the conversation. Everyone's like missing, and so he was always. He had the confidence because he put in the time outside of practice and everything else. He was always working on stuff, and so he just had the confidence, man. He had the confidence. He had the talent. He had the genetics. You know, he just hit it just right. You know, and so he never let up. He never allowed anybody to outdo him. You know. In a lot of ways, there's a lot of parallel lines with Will Smith. I find Will Smith and Michael Jordan to be kind of similar, to be in the similar realm of having a kind of being a champion in their field. You know what I'm saying? So, but Will Smith has controversy around him, and so he's not as classic as Michael Jordan. You know, he's not as a classy person. You know, but you know, each their own. Each their own. Each their own. So I don't know. Let's just do something. Oh yeah, I do these. I call these cartwheels. You gotta be careful with this, because you might pull a muscle or something. But what I like to do is I like to slowly stretch out my arm, and like all my muscles, almost like you're throwing a spear. And I just like do these actions to work my arm in a way that I never really get the chance to work out my arm. You know, I never get to use my arm like this in any fashion. So I find that by doing these weird, like spear throwing exercises with a weight, I'm not trying to get primitive, but I mean, that's what it looks like. It looks like you're throwing a rock, you're throwing a ball, you're just throwing something. You know, you do that with this weight, and it's like you're working the back muscles, you're working the shoulder, you're really working that motion. And going slow, you can really feel the resistance when you're coming up, you know? So there's a lot of, that's why I like doing big motions with my body, because you're not just focusing on one thing. Yeah, sure, people say focus on one thing and we'll do that, but I like to hit them all. I like to do my motions because, you know, these are emotions that, you know, like doing this and doing this and doing this. Like I want to be able to use all my muscles here. You know what I'm saying? Like I want them all to be used, you know, when I work out. So that's why I include this weird spear chucking exercise that I mean, I've never seen anybody do this on YouTube. I just started doing it because I felt it working. You know, I'm going slow because this is the kind of thing that you might hurt yourself doing. You might pull a muscle, you might do something. So when this kind of thing, you really want to take it slow. It's just really feel that pain. You know, I don't have a gym that I go to. I don't want to pay, money here, little monies here and there. You're paying $20 here, $30, or I don't need that in my life. I don't need people taking my money. So, cutting out the gym is saving money. And don't be fooled. Like, you can totally work out at home. Like, I work out at home with this weight. The thing is, though, I have a 35, 45, and 50. When I push myself, I start to look bulkier. But it's totally possible to work out from home. You don't need to go to the gym. I think people go to the gym because they want to be seen. They want to meet people, but you can do that anywhere else. And trust me, meeting people, working out isn't necessarily the best place to meet people. Everyone has such extremes, passions and hobbies. Like, go spend time at the hobbies that you're going to find like-minded people. When you go to the gym, the thing that you bond over is working out. It's not really, I don't know, I guess you have your workout buddies, but I don't need a workout buddy. I guess when you do the bench press and stuff, it's good to have somebody there. When you're working on really heavy weights, somebody there to like make sure you don't drop it. But like I said, I'm not in that position. I just do maintenance. And my whole life, I've always been like this because, maintenance. It's just maintenance. Maintenance at home, doing a workout home, doing sit-ups at home, doing push-ups at home, jump jacks, jump ropes, leg works. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to go to the gym for that. So if anything, you save time, you save money, you save gas, you don't use your car, which means you're saving the planet. You're saving those greenhouses or whatever. You're not adding to the pollution of getting in your car and driving to the gym. I get up, walk 10 feet to my trailer, boom, work out. What's the negative? I don't understand. What's the negative? I can socialize in any other occasion. I don't need to socialize when I'm focused and working. Maybe if I have a coach or a friend who's really serious about working out, but other than that, I don't need to socialize. I don't care about meeting a girl there at the gym. Who cares? Who cares? You can meet them anywhere. If you're not meeting people and you go to the gym to meet people, then ask yourself, what could I fix in my life so I don't have to spend time, money to be part of a club to socialize? Now, I do find people that for their careers, they go to the gyms and they pay the thing and they're like a persona, right? They're teaching how to work out. But everybody has their reason. I'm not dogging it. I'm just saying, if you're like me, if you find a position where you're trying to save money here and there, and you're that's no excuse to stop working out just because you don't go to a gym. So anyways, I'm gonna go do some pull-ups. I might as well get the jumping jacks kind of out of the way right now. And yeah, keep at it, do some sit-ups. I might do that too before I end this live chat. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 76, 77, 8, 79, 80, 81, 2, 83, 84, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90. So I'm working my legs, my arms, jumping up and down, causing a lot of energy. It's just putting it out there, you know. So it's a good opportunity to really raise your vibrations too. Really get it up there, really pump yourself up. You know, when you put your hands up, really cheer. Like, yes, I can. I can do it. Yes, I can. I'm the best. I'm the champion. I'm the winner. Whew. Of course, you don't want to be an asshole. At least off the court, don't be an asshole off the court. Because a lot of times being an asshole is being part of the game. They're going to push, they're going to bully. So you bully back. Whew. Not bully back, but you push back. You push back, you defend. You know, defend yourself. Oh yeah, you can really feel it. Like you work out your core. You know, a lot of people think it's a joke, but doing these simple, those exercises, it's a workout. I mean, look at me, I'm out of breath. I can feel my muscles right here really tighten up, and I can feel it. My legs, my muscles on my legs. I mean, there's a reason why boxers do jump ropes. There's a reason why you watch those Asian folks. Man, I'm so out of breath. Those Asian folks who are like monks, they do all kinds of things, but they also include these exercises because it's such a, I'm telling you, it's such a simple thing to do. But yeah, it can be so hard because you're just so unhealthy, so out of shape. And when you lose these simple abilities to be able to maintain your body, that's it. You know, it's gonna feel like climbing a mountain to get back to that. You know, and I'm 38 years old. Okay, I'm 38 years old. Some people can't believe it. And to me, this is what 38 looks like. You know, I feel, you know, I don't feel 38, but when I look at people who are my age, this is what they look like. Rarely do I see somebody who looks like they're aging fast. You know, I've seen people at 40 who just look so bad. They've never. And here's the thing: they complain, but they don't do anything about it. You know, you complain, but you don't do anything about it. It's on you. You being unhealthy is on you. It's always going to be on you for what you didn't do and for what you did. Because there's people who think they're being healthy by taking their body to an extreme, and then they die early on in age, like 36 years old. There's a dude, a builder body influencer who died at 36 years old. That should tell you that they're not doing it right. You know, they're doing something a little wrong. You know, it's not worth it. It's not worth ruining your body to an extreme to where you're unhealthy. It's just not worth it. It's not worth the money, fame, whatever. It's not worth it, dude. The one thing you should be chasing is your peace of mind and your health, and then allow everything else to follow that. You know, follow that. Anyways, I'm done. I'm out of breath. I'm gonna go do some pull-ups inside the house, and some sit-ups and some leg works, and call it a day. Call it a day with the workout. I mean, it's the lazy workout from home, Rocky style. You know, you just pick up weights. If you don't have a weight, pick up a log. You know what I'm saying? Pick up a rock and just do repetitions. That's all it is. That's all it is. You don't have to have the most expensive, fancy looking weight. You don't have to have the nicest bench and all the weights in front of you that you won't even touch. You don't need all that access. You're paying for access that you don't even need. You know what I'm saying? You don't need it. All right, folks, I'm out. I had fun working out. I hope you work out and do the same. I'll be seeing y'all later. See ya.